Hey, welcome to today's episode of the Hive with Us podcast. I'm your host, Danny Martinez. Today I have a special guest, Mr. Taylor Doolittle. We'll bring him on screen right now. How are you doing today, Taylor?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it's a warm 33-degree day here in Minnesota, which means the snow is starting to melt. Anything above freezing is a win for us.
Minneapolis, or what part of Minnesota?
Yeah, Minneapolis. A suburb of Minneapolis. But I do business kind of in and around the entire Twin Cities metro area.
Nice. 33 degrees does not mean the snow is melting. I know that. I used to live in Chicago, and I'm like, you had to get like 40, 45 degrees before you actually see the snow melt.
Yeah.
33 just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it's been a pretty bummer of a winter, and we had a couple warm days, which means everyone gets really excited and very ambitious with wearing t-shirts in 40-degree weather. So
I remember when I was younger, we used to driving in Chicago. My brother would do a freeze out, so it was right when power windows just came into effect, and he would lock the windows so you couldn't put them up or down, and then he put all the windows down and opened the sunroof in like a snowstorm. It was crazy, and then he would start driving.
Just driving in a snow globe.
That's what it felt like. It was crazy. It wasn't fun, and like I said, first opportunity I had to leave the snow, I left it. I'm back. How long have you been doing real estate in Minneapolis, and how long ago did you start?
Yeah, so I have been a licensed real estate agent since August of 2017. So that means we're 5.5 years in. I started as a real estate agent with my brother-in-law. We started a team. The team was just he and I was kind of the experiment of the brother-in-law, the goofy brother-in-law, see if I had real estate chops. And fast forward 5.5 years later, it's my brother-in-law, another business partner, and myself lead a team of 15 agents total. So helping people buy and sell and invest in real estate, mainly in the residential space, but also in the commercial space as well.
Awesome. It's the real estate chops are definitely hit or miss.
Yeah. And I mean, that's to be said really for just entrepreneurship or starting any business. It's easy to kind of talk the talk, and it's easy to want to be an entrepreneur, but when it's their turn to try it, you just don't know how they're going to do until it's their turn to take action.
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle a lot of people face early on. That you don't know, you might not eat for 3 months. But
Yeah.
it's crazy how business entrepreneurship goes. I make fun of a lot of Asians sometimes, but they're really in the heat just like us, man. You gotta kill to eat some food sometimes, So you better start producing.
Yeah, it's tough, and real estate. Being a realtor is a little bit interesting because it's a very easy license to get. It's 3 weeks and a couple $100. So it tends to be an industry where there's a lot of people that are the people that job hop every year or two, trying to find that easy way to win big. So it seems like anybody that you meet has a friend or a cousin or an uncle or an aunt or just someone in their life that has their license. But it's an industry where 90% of the work is done by 10% of the agents. So it's pretty interesting.
That's crazy. It's definitely 100% true. It's definitely 100% true. If you're trying to be an aspiring agent, try and be part of the 10% because the 90% get left behind every year.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about. So you do single family commercial. Let's talk about are you just doing the agent side, or do you do investor stuff as well, or are you kind of a little bit of both or a mix?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Yeah, so I wear a couple different hats in my job. So the first hat I wear is helping people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. So as a realtor, as an agent. And the second thing I do is I lead a team of agents that are getting up and running and are at various points in their career, their real estate journey. And then I also invest in real estate, where the idea is I help people buy and sell real estate to produce income, to then use that income to purchase real estate to build long-term wealth. So the entire reason I got into real estate was with the long-term vision of becoming a real estate investor.
Great. Yeah, I'm on Twitter a lot, and there's a lot of like Twitter synopsis that most agents don't own real estate because they don't even make enough money to close business.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I would think that more people that do real estate as a profession would invest in real estate. But I don't know if it's something where...
This show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Maybe not producing enough income to purchase it, because if you're not moving, if you're not occupying investment real estate, it is a lot of money for a down payment. But also, yeah. I'm curious if it has to do with maybe real estate agents get a skewed vision of the horror stories of owning real estate, because maybe they're working with investors that are just tired or wanting to get out of the game. So maybe there's this
nice.
Yeah, this view of all of the bad things that can happen, and so maybe that prevents people from jumping in as well.
Yeah, I think one of the craziest things about it is real estate people, they get a lot of crazy stories, and I feel like I don't know about all businesses. Like, I feel like when I had a 9-to-5 job, I didn't have that many crazy stories. It was kind of mundane. Show up to work and kind of go home, and there was a few things that happened, and every once in a while somebody get hurt or do something stupid and they get fired. But like, other than that, it was pretty like mundane. And then you come into real estate and like, oh, did you hear about this? And like, what?
Yeah. I mean, it's when you're walking in and out of houses in various different types of neighborhoods, and you're talking to people that own investment real estate. I mean, the amount of people involved in this profession, there's going to be some pretty interesting stories and interesting characters that you meet along the way.
I have a question for you about like in the cold weather. So I noticed a lot of things slow down in the winter. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody sells their house. Is that like a really the back fact or something? Because like, people don't want to leave in the middle of the winter and move and upstairs, downstairs. Is that a fact? 100% for like colder climates?
That's definitely true to the Twin Cities. Our real estate market really slows down during holiday season. So really Thanksgiving through usually middle to end of January. So, but as we get thick into like late fall, so October, November, things really start slowing down. And I think there's a couple different factors that play into that. One, people just don't want to move during winter unless they absolutely have to, because moving a bunch of boxes into a moving truck when it's negative 20 degrees just is not fun for anybody. Also, a lot of sellers, they might take pride of their landscaping, the way that their house looks in the summer. So they want it to show really well. But then also in the more entry-level price points, most lease agreements in the Twin Cities start and end in the warmer season. So spring and summer. Because it's really hard to fill a lease in the late fall or in winter because nobody wants to move then. So because of that, most of the buyers are out during those warmer weather seasons, and sellers know that that's when it's kind of the hot time to sell. So usually the market really kicks off in like February, after the last winter holiday in Minnesota, which is the Super Bowl. That's usually February is when things start kicking back up in the real estate market here.
That's very, very interesting. Like I said, I don't really deal with stuff like that now, so I'm like, I'm just curious myself because I don't even know. Like I said, it's intriguing to me.
But on the flip side of that, if you're a buyer and you're flexible with your move-in date, being a buyer in the winter in Minnesota, you're going to have less options, but way less competition. So it's a great time to be a buyer. The one downside is when you have your inspection, when there's 3 feet of snow, you can't see the roof. You can't see really anything on the exterior. and the ground is frozen. So if there's any leaky basement issues, you can't see it because all the moisture is frozen. So pros and cons.
Pros and cons. That's a lot to think about for everybody working in the north.
But that's where we escape as real estate agents. As the market cools down a little bit, that's kind of time to really focus on family and working on your business instead of working in your business, systems, and kind of catching up on things like that. And then also just kind of escaping the warmer climate maybe for a week here or there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we got vacations built in.
Yes.
That's good, man. So let's talk about a little bit commercial. What do you do on the commercial side, and what does it look like? You doing like office, industrial, a little bit of everything?
So more on the multifamily side of things, because if anything that is 5 units or more in an apartment would be classified as commercial. So for me, it feels like the same thing. Numbers are crunched the same way. Really is just, hey, an 8 unit is the same as a 4 unit. It's just 2 of them smashed together, right? So, and it's pretty common for people to kind of graduate from the, hey, I own duplexes to, hey, I want to own more units under a single roof. A lot in the multifamily space, and then some guys on my team play quite a bit in the retail space as well. So strip malls, triple net lease type stuff.
We're getting into triple net leases right now. It's definitely a interesting sector of the commercial side. It's very intriguing what you can do on that side.
Yeah, it's great when it's great, and it's tough when it's tough.
I was talking to a commercial investor last weekend, and he was talking about how the triple nets, they're built in for, it's a long-term lease, which benefits the seller, but benefits the buyer too of the triple net, or the tenant at least. And he says that you really have to negotiate your triple net terms, because this is what the commercial investor told me, and it blew my mind, because he says what they'll do is they'll pay market rents now, but do slow step increases. That way, like in 5-10 years, if you're holding on that triple net, you might be negative if you have debt on it.
Yeah,
it could really, really hurt you. And like I know a lot about triple net leases, but I've never heard that before. I'm like, what?
Yeah, the lease. I mean, whenever you're buying commercial real estate in terms of kind of retail strip stuff, you can't really look at it in terms of you are purchasing a physical building, but really you're buying leases. You're buying you're buying cash flow. So that's where, when you purchase a property that has leases in place, you reading those leases really well and seeing if there's built-in increases, or if there's options for the tenant to either leave or increase their rent. And so that's where running the numbers is really, really important. And why it's even more important to have a mentor in that space that can look through stuff, or a real estate lawyer that has experience writing those leases, reading those leases, to look over things for you. Because it's great when you're like, oh my gosh, I've got a tenant in here for 7 years. But if you buy the place and it's not in a good location, or other circumstances pop up, when that tenant moves out, you could be vacant for a year or a year and a half. So every asset class that you go into, there's great benefit and there's also risks. So it's just really just choosing what space you want to be in and what risk you're willing to mitigate. So
yeah, it's such an interesting aspect of the triple nets, man. I learned a lot just talking to him, and it blew my mind. So like, I thought it was like an easy, straightforward thing, but like, no, the tenants will try and screw you over. Like, everybody tries to screw everybody over at some point. Nothing comes at face value anymore.
Yeah, being in the triple net space is you need more cash on hand to hold on to assets if you have vacancy for a long time. But then also, if you get a new tenant and they want a space that previously was a barbershop, but they want to turn it into a retail space, kind of a storefront, then doing tenant improvements, and maybe you're crediting them a certain amount of dollars to build out the space differently. And it's really exciting and really fun in a lot of ways. Very different, though, from if you own a small apartment building.
Yeah, I had a deal when I was in Georgia. It was a little strip mall center, and it was half built out. So like, they had tenants that wanted to come in, but they're like, we want a certain build out. You got to make sure the firewalls are there. And I'm like, oh my god, I think I'm out. I think I'm out on this one. It was just too much. And like, so it was vacant for a while, where somebody came in and stripped all the copper.
Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, those are tough.
And it's
It's
just
tough when you're trying to revive a property that's been vandalized or people have come in and do stuff because you're spending money just to get it back to baseline and then you're starting the work. Yeah, it's tough.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So 5 years, it's a lot can happen in 5 years. I think it's a lot of it is just consistency and finding what you love. Because I
Yep.
think it's important for all that stuff is like there's agents that do like tenant stuff, but like you might not like working with tenants. Like it's a whole thing. And one thing I love about real estate as a whole is that there's so many like sub niches,
Yeah.
so many sub niches. Like you can focus on one thing and you'll be fine the rest of your life. So tell us a little bit about what's your future plans? What are you trying to do in real estate in the next 5 years? I think now you have are you a brokerage or you just manage a team on the agent side? Like
Yeah, so we have a team that is licensed underneath a local Remax franchise. We like to focus on buying and selling real estate and not necessarily the job of running a brokerage. So we have a great leadership team here that takes on those responsibilities. As far as what future looks like is, at the end of the day, I don't want to be 85 years old putting out open house signs on a 90-degree day during the summer. Eventually, being out of the role of being an active real estate agent, that day will come. At the moment, I love my job, and I still have the energy to do it. But over the past couple of years, I've been able to implement systems into my business so I can be more of a business owner and not be that traditional story of being on the clock 24/7,
yeah,
working 100-hour weeks, which that's definitely necessary in the first couple years to get the momentum moving. There's not really any way of skipping that if you want to build a sustainable business quickly. You just got to put in the work. But I've had some great mentors in my life that were great business owners that have challenged me and encouraged me and helped me implement good systems into my business. So I've been able to step out just a little bit through that and through delegation actually provide a better experience for my clients. So we'll see how long I'm in the real estate agent game. For now, there's not really an end in sight. So continue to hone that craft, continue to work to produce income, and really just building my real estate portfolio over time. I mean, it's really easy right now with how many podcasts there are out there, and you hear the stories of the 22-year-old that built millions of dollars in real estate in 12 months with no money down, right? I don't really subscribe to that, like, do it quicker, faster, younger, more risky, because it seems like every year or two you hear those people not having a very good time because it turns out it wasn't sustainable how they built it a lot of times. So for me, it's really just taking that marathon approach, not a sprint approach, making wise decisions over time, knowing that there's so much power in owning real estate over time. So continuing to underwrite deals as they come my way, continue to meet people, network, prospect, meet sellers, meet owners, and things like that. So that's really my vision for the next 5 years at least. And then also I just take so much joy out of helping the guys on my team that are in the earlier stages of their career build up their businesses, because I've seen how much of an impact real estate has made in my life, in the life of my family, in such a positive way. And I just really want that for people that are on our real estate team, because what you can do in real estate and the income that can be produced, you can just be such an impact player in your communities and your families and your church and your in your circles. So it's been just absolutely life-changing in such a good way.
what does your investing side look like
So
now?
right now I have a portfolio of 15 doors. So I've got 2 duplexes, a single family rental, and then a small 10-unit apartment building. And then I'm also invested as a limited partner in a couple syndications in the triple net retail space. So I am diversified into those asset classes without me being the full owner of those.
Yeah.
And then now continuing to hunt multifamily that I can purchase, just because I have a team set up for that. I have awesome property managers. And then also looking in the retail space as well. What I found, though, is in order to get something in the retail space, as far as our market goes, if you're in the Twin Cities, you need to be in a price point that's over $2 million in order to get something that's in good enough of a location that's going to attract tenants that feel like they are trustworthy or that are going to be able to maintain a lease. And so it's really a cash game when you're getting into bigger buildings like that. So need to increase the value of the stuff I already own to be able to eventually sell those and roll those proceeds into the purchase of those bigger assets, or just continue to prospect every asset class that I'm interested in and say yes to opportunities as the right opportunities pop up.
I've never done anything. I've never been an LP or GP or nothing on that like that. I like having the control. I like being in control of a lot of things. So
Yeah, I mean, pros and cons, right? In whatever flavor of real estate you practice, whether it's the, hey, short-term rentals, which have the ability to throw off a lot of cash, but
yeah,
it's about the least passive thing that you can do, right? So it's that teeter-totter of a lot of hands-on, maybe more profit, and then on the other end of the scale is the just investing passively into syndications where, hey, you're not going to win as much if you own it outright, but it truly can be mailbox money where you just sit back, you don't have to worry about it. So the important thing there is to really trust your operators, your general partners, the guys that are running the show, which right now is interesting because the past couple of years with the real estate market just everything going up, everything rising. I think it made a lot of people feel really smart and really good at their job and feeling like they're great syndicators when really it was just the market was just going crazy and everything was going up. So I'll be curious to see over the next couple of years as people bought properties with financing terms, expecting them to stay the way they were, and then debt coming to renewal. Now interest rates are where they're at. It'll be interesting to see what happens in those spaces.
and who's left standing?
Yes. Yeah.
Who's left standing?
Yeah, it makes me think of I think it's a Warren Buffett quote where it's like when the tide goes out, you find out who's been swimming naked. And I think we're going to find a lot of people who are swimming naked.
I hate to see it, but it's the ebb and flow of everything.
Yeah.
Life goes up and down. Real estate goes up and down. Stocks go up and down. It is what it is. Just hopefully you were prepared.
Yes. Yeah.
Just hopefully you're prepared. Are you doing anything with the education side, or are you just educating your team internally?
And when you say me doing the education side, what do you mean by that?
Are you doing any education at all outwardly?
Not a ton. Most of the education that I am leading is just with agents on my team or people in my sphere or people in my network or clients of mine. Would be, I love the education piece. I love empowering people and I love teaching things that I'm really passionate about, which I absolutely love real estate, if you haven't been able to tell already. So those are definitely opportunities that I would consider if they presented themselves. But that's what I love about the podcast space is this is a way for me to have a good conversation with you and maybe there's just one small thing that I said that made somebody think a little bit of a different way that maybe changes the entire trajectory of their life potentially. Most of the education that I'm doing outwardly is probably in the podcast space like this.
Gotcha. Yeah, the podcast space is pretty dope, man. I like it. I like doing it a lot, and it's definitely has its benefits for sure. What is a quote that is yours or somebody else's that you resonate with?
A quote that I've listened to or that I constantly repeat in my head over the past couple of years is, and this is not original, but it is anonymous. A lot of people might take credit for it, but entrepreneurship is living a couple years like most people won't. So you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. And that's just so true in starting your own business in whatever industry it is. If it's real estate, if it's any number, right? There's just so much work involved in getting any project up and running or any business up and running. But if you are willing to put in the time and you're able to have the mental fortitude and the emotional fortitude to get through that hard part in the first year or two where most people give up, if you're willing to get past that, then you end up reaping the benefits of all of that hard work that has been put in. And that's what I really try to preach to the newer guys on our team is if you commit to just 2 years of putting in the right action, then you're going to see the fruits of those labor very shortly after that. So that's really a mantra that I've continued to live by and continuing to grow. And even though my business is at a very healthy spot where it is self-sustainable and we're moving at a good pace, continuing to learn, continuing to put in the hard work in just a different way than what it looked like when I was first getting up and running.
100%. I will 100% back you on that one. It's exponential growth happens after you put in the work for a long time consistently, and like it may get distraught or hard, or like it might hurt for a little bit when you get no results or little results for a long time, but something happens that it's like it's the gym. You work that muscle for a while, you're going to get stronger. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, and the more business owners that you talk to in real estate or not in real estate, where it would be easy to glorify them or put them on a pedestal or think like, oh my gosh, well, she had it made because she knew these people, or it was easier for him because he was set up for success. And then you hear their stories and you understand all of the work that they put in before you even knew who the heck they were, right? And that's just been true for me time and time again, listening to people who I respect, who I see that they've built businesses that I admire. There's no getting around the work. They all put in the work. And so, like we were talking about earlier, real estate, it's hard to know who's going to put in the work. And a lot of people, you think you know how you're going to react until you're put in that position where it's now your turn to actually take the action. And we'll see who are the ones that actually step up to the plate.
Yeah, definitely an interesting dynamic for everybody here that wants to start or already started. Just continue to continue putting the work, show up every day. It's definitely hard for a long time, and just push through the pain.
Yeah, what I tell my the new people that join our real estate team is I say, hey, months 1 through 3 is easy because you have that new hire fire. You're pumped. It's something new. You're doing all of the building blocks to have your social media pages and your website set up, and you're learning all this new stuff. And then once you get to month 3, all of that stuff is done, and now you just got to do the work. And then months 3 through 12 are going to be maybe the hardest part of your career. When you wake up on a Monday and you say, I've got literally nothing on my calendar.
Yep.
I'm doing everything that they're telling me to do, and I'm not raking in the money. There's not clients just knocking down my door ready to work with me. But if you continue to push through that phase of just mental and emotional just toughness, you get to month 12, 13, 14, 15, and the people that you met on month 3 and 4, hey, now their lease is coming up, and so they're starting to look. So it really is can you survive long enough and have be mentally strong enough to get through that period of putting in the work and not seeing the results yet.
Yep. There you go. Where can people find you online? I have your Taylor Doolittle realestate.com. Where else people find you online?
Yeah, so I'm most active on Facebook. There's not many Taylor Doolittles out there. So if you just put my name into Facebook, you'll see my headshot as my profile picture. I post a lot about real estate, and I also post a lot about my really, really cute 2-year-old daughter, Rory, who's my best bud. And then I'm also on Instagram, so Taylor.Doolittle. Super, super happy and willing if anybody listens to this and wants to ask a question or chat about anything. Always happy to give away some time to help anybody where they're at. Always willing to help.
I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, hopefully what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you get more business in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So that's the goal. So hopefully everybody here, if you're listening, hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully you got some motivation to put in the work and show up tomorrow, and hopefully after a certain period of time, I can't tell you when, but results will come. Thanks for coming on, Taylor. We appreciate your time, and hopefully we get some deals off of this. Everybody here, go like, subscribe, go share it with a friend, send it to your friends and family, share it, review it, Do all that stuff. You know what to do. Hit subscribe somewhere over there. You got it. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this YouTube video. We hope you found value. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to watch more videos just like this one.